Time for another discussion video, and the question at hand, should Yu-Gi-Oh! Advance the strategic nature of the game by introducing player abilities? There are a large number of card games that have segregated within classes much more so than the archetype structure of Yu-Gi-Oh!, largely due to the level and quality of the generic cards that are available in this game, where that segregation creates unique play opportunities and strategies. But how would the game of Yu-Gi-Oh change if the players themselves could select an effect or ability of sorts at the start of the duel for use sometime later during the duel itself? So the target for this insightful or foolish is giving players a more direct ability to influence the game beyond just the cards in their decks. The statement is the introduction of player abilities could produce an environment further diverting luck and skill as factors in determining the winner. Basically, player abilities would create more strategic elements that will increase win probabilities for better players. Now, I envision the selection structure of these effects to in almost a sense of paying homage to both the manga and anime to encompass the Millennium items of sort. Also, these abilities could only be used once per duel and could be chained between duels in sense similar to how you can side deck. You could say, well, I don't want this ability, I want this ability instead for the second duel. The single use aspect could be tracked with either the use of a specialized eight-sided die that would reveal the Millennium item in question. Seven of the sides would be one of the Millennium items, and the eighth side would be blank, representing the use of the effect in that given duel, or a single card representing the ability that could be turned face down. Finally, none of these abilities could be negated by card effects. All right, with all of that setup done, what would be some possible examples for these abilities relative to the corresponding Millennium item? First, the Millennium Eye. Look at all set cards on the opponent's field, as well as all cards in your opponent's hand, and the top three cards of the opponent's deck. Millennium Ring. During your next draw phase, instead of drawing, look at the top five cards in your deck and add one of those cards to your hand. Then place the remaining four cards on the top of your deck in any order. Millennium Scale. Select one of the following effects. Return one card in your graveyard to your hand. Return one extra deck monster in your graveyard to your extra deck. Increase your life points equal to one half the returned monster's attack and draw one card. You cannot activate, set, or summon the selected card during the current turn. Millennium Key. During either player's turn, declare a number with a multiple of 1000. Until your second end phase after this ability has been used, negate all damage you take equal to or lower than this number. Increase your opponent's life points equal to the declared number. Millennium Rod. During either player's turn, select one monster in either your hand, reveal it to the opponent, or on your field. Your opponent cannot attack directly with monsters that have higher levels or attack than the revealed monster, even if it leaves the hand or field until the opponent's third end phase after this ability has been used. Millennium Necklace. During either player's turn, declare a card name. If the opponent summons or activates a card with the declared name during the current turn, draw three cards. Millennium Puzzle. During either player's turn, select one monster on your field and give it the following effects. 1. If this card battles a monster with either a higher level or higher attack, banish the opponent's monster at the end of the damage step. 2. If this card leaves the field by an opponent's card effect or is destroyed, draw two cards. 3. If this card leaves the field, double your current life points until your next end phase. During your next end phase, return your life points to their original value before this effect was activated. Obviously, designing these perspective abilities is not easy because they have to be balanced to the point where the entire game cannot completely swing on their use, but useful enough that they actually have value. Also, the abilities need to be diverse and balanced enough that every player just does not simply select the same ability over and over again. Note that the aforementioned 7 abilities are just possible examples for the abilities. While there is little direct empirical evidence or play with these abilities, one theoretical aspect for the aforementioned 7 in their application suggests a slowdown to the game, especially with the abilities like Rod or Key, because you can't overly take advantage of spitting out that big board and then quickly ending the duel. So if you spit out that big board, you'll overextend and might get caught with a field clearer of some sort. While these abilities, if applied to the game, would certainly create a new strategic element to reduce the role of luck in the game, some could view this idea as negative because it pulls the game away from its root and adds what they would argue to be an unnecessary and potentially needless complicated element to the game that may reduce the level of enjoyment of playing the game. Well, that is my idea, so I leave it to you, the viewer. Is the idea to introduce player abilities into the game of Yu Gi Oh! Insightful or foolish?